I catch myself and lower my voice. What we've been doing to get you out. You can do that and other things at the same time.
Oh, his voice priorities are so fucked up.
You can tell your plans to my O-face.
I have life-changing information for you, bud.
You can be scheming while I'm dreaming. Amicus tries not to look too eager, but he does. That face.
He's like, please.
That face is so much. I roll my eyes, but press my hand against his chest and draw it slowly down the wolf's front, over the curve of his stomach. He immediately moans quietly as I reach the lower part of his abdomen and see the bulge jump in his underwear as his hips even thrust up a bit too. I laugh at his eagerness, and have to admit that it's kind of nice to have something more lighthearted to do while I discuss all these troubling issues with my wolf. For the next little while, I walk around the gardens, taking advantage of the mild weather.
You're not gonna tell me about the hand job?
I've noticed it's become cooler and less humid over the past week, which is nice. Apparently this is as cold as it gets from this part of Adastra, though, and it never snows. I sigh and sit on a bench, thinking back to my meeting with Amicus just an hour ago. It had been easier to say goodbye to the wolf this time, especially now that I know Cassius is willing to let us see each other as much as is possible. That being whenever Cato is out, which is good because he's got a lot of time doing his official business or whatever. Amicus, once again, had recommended I distance myself from plotting so as not to get caught up if we get exposed. I reassure him, even though I know I'm going to do whatever it takes to see this through, even if it means I have to put myself in danger. I don't want Amicus to be down there for another day. Just yesterday, Cassius, or Cato, banned all talk of Amicus on Adastra, which Neferu told me only caused the rumors to really start flying. They range from Amicus being imprisoned, true, banished, or even executed. This is good for us, I'm told, because the public, whether they liked Amicus or not, generally doesn't feel like he should be struck from existence just because he lost the emperorship. In other words, the people will likely be on our side when we finally reveal everything. Hopefully. That's really all we can rely on, considering the Emperor holds so much power, even if the way it was achieved was illegitimate. The triumvirates barely check the Emperor's power, so unless the people as a whole come together, it would be difficult to remove Cassius from the throne. If Cassius still refuses to step down, our options will be very limited, and most probably won't turn out well for me, or anyone here that's not part of the family. Still, Cassius is proud. Very proud. Neferu and Virginia think he'll either step down, or at least accept combat to go out with honor. Hopefully the first, because I really don't know how Amicus would deal with the idea of having to kill his brother.
Oh gosh.
I sigh and lean back on the bench, really getting frustrated with all this political bullshit.
Political bullshit does tend to be frustrating.
Yup. This has been the exact type of thing Cassius wanted to get rid of, but now it just seems worse than ever. Just as I'm thinking this, I see Alex.
Awkward.
He's just up the path, standing right in the middle of it. And he's looking right at me. I give a start, then just stare back at him. He doesn't move, just goes on looking at me, and I start to wonder what the hell he's doing. He doesn't have his usual smile on either, just a soft breeze blows through the leaves and foliage. I start to feel like I'm in some kind of horror movie.
Are you guys gonna have like an anime fight?
Actually, now that I know who he really is, I do start to feel a little concerned about what he's capable of. So I decide to act casual. Sorry.
What?
Your anime fight comment reminded me of the, actually a few things. So, brace yourself, artist who draws comics, because I'm talking about you again. But there's a comic by The Perp where it's fucking it's I couldn't show you until now, basically, but it's Alex and Marco just slapping the shit out of each other, And like Cassius is, it's like restrain your pet and blah 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 blah. And like Amicus is like, yeah, get him, Marco. Like they have completely different reactions to like Alex and Marco just like awkwardly slapping the shit out of each other in the comic, and it's really funny.
It's like battling Pokemon.
Yeah, a lot of the Perps comics are based on actual scenes, like verbatim dialogue and so on. But I think that one's just a moment. It's just very funny.
I mean, I know Alex is like an anthropomorphic cat, but I feel like even I could beat up Alex.
He doesn't. Yeah, no, he got defeated by a bath. So it'd be. Remind me to show you that comic later and send it your way. But also, I said to brace himself because, yeah, the for context of people just watching along that don't know, I mentioned the Perps comic about the flowers scene, and then I guess he was watching because he drew a comic of the experience of him hearing himself be mentioned in the middle of the Let's Play.
And then you're doing it to him again.
And it's this very cute comic where he like recoils backwards away.
He's a repeat offender.
I should just ask him
again.
I guess I should just ask him if I can show the comics. That makes more sense. What is it? What is it, Kiki? We're not talking about you. Your name's not any of the words we said.
She doesn't care.
She just wants attention. She's decided it's time. But yeah, once again, tiny world, and the people that I talk about are watching sometimes, and that's just weird. That's just a weird life.
Well, hopefully it's not. Hopefully it's not the people who you're related to during the scenes where you're talking about hard cocks and stuff. Or what if it's like your second grade teacher or something? It's like, oh, Key. I mean, but
they should be happy for me. Fuck them.
Then again, if they're here, they probably have certain interests. So.
Yeah.
But I was thinking about that the other day because I was thinking about like all the lewd stuff that you have to say, and then I was thinking about like, it's kind of good because like you're always like, man, my family never watches my videos. And, like maybe it's good in instances like this.
I mean there's differences in how much work I put into things, too. This is just nonsense. I'm just reading scripts and fucking around. Anyway, that's why I reacted to your fucking anime fight comment. Because I'm just thinking of them just slapping the shit out of each other. Now that we know that they're not friends. So I decide to act casual and stand up, raising a hand and walking over to the cat. Hey, Alex.
Alexios will do, Marco.
Okay. Hi, Alexios.
Ahotep be with you, Marco.
What?
I feel things should be more formal between us from now on. That is all.
No, I mean, why the greeting? I'd heard Neferu use it many times, but no one else.
This is Rakemian. Yeah, as I say.
Yeah.
You're a Rakemian, are you not?
That gives me pause. Oh, yeah, I guess I am. The cat smirks.
Odd. You seem to have forgotten your own citizenship.
I shrug. Still getting used to it.
I mean, it's something that even some siblings desire. Not to mention children, or even the uncontacted. Ugh.
I raise an eyebrow. That's so.
Certainly. Who wouldn't want to be a part of the most spoiled civilization in the galaxy?
Oh, he doesn't have very good opinions of the Chemians either, it would appear.
Oh.
I sigh, still tired from thinking about all this political maneuvering. Playing games with Alexios is the last thing I want to do right now. Cut the bullshit, Alex. What do you want?
Excuse me?
You're excused. I walk past the cat, listening to him sputter in surprise.
You have some nerve to talk to a sibling like that.
I frown, glancing back. What's that supposed to mean?
You're not even a child, yet you throw your weight around here like you're the most important person in the palace.
I laugh. Loud.
Good.
I see the Earth's... I see the cat's ears pinned back. Are you fucking kidding me? All of you assholes have been throwing me around with all your plots and fake niceties. I'm just trying to survive. Also, last I checked, Chemians are all equal, so I don't really give a shit if you're a sibling. Alex looks completely taken aback, which is completely satisfying. And haven't you always implied that the wolves are fucked up for looking down on the children and treating them like slaves? Alex coughs to clear his throat.
Very catty.
Yeah.
My apologies. I simply lost my temper for a moment. You were just being a bit rude.
Or maybe deep down, you're just as speciesist or whatever as the wolves, even though you try to pretend you're not. Neferu's the same way. Even I'm surprising myself a little. It's like the lid is finally blown off and I'm just using Alex to vent all my frustrations with this place.
What has gotten into you, Marco?
There's a long pause, and I finally sigh, rubbing my face. Sorry, I think I'm losing my mind here. For the first time in a while, I see the cat crack a genuine smile.
I can tell you then that you're not meant to be a diplomat.
Definitely not. For a moment, I feel that old, familiar kinship I had with the cat not even a few weeks ago. I do feel like in any other situation, in one where we're not all spies, Alex and I could be really good friends. I know that can't be the case now, so I stop smiling and look Alexios right in the eye. But seriously, what do you want? I can tell you're trying to get something out of me. Alex becomes serious too, smile fading. He considers me for a long while, probably realizing that I'm not going to play his little game.
All right, Marco. Who are you? I know you're not an abandoned child. What is it that you want, and what are you doing here?
So you want to know everything?
Yes.
And why should I tell you? Alex smirks.
Why be blunt if we're going to play the game anyway, Marco?
I'm just curious as to why you're so curious. I hardly matter in all of this.
That is a complete lie. Everything has changed here since you arrived. This is why I want to know.
But why does it matter to you? Why does it matter that you know?
I am an important link between Amorpha and Adastra. It is my job to know what is happening in this empire.
Uh-huh. So who told you I'm uncontacted? Cassius?
You've deducted correctly, but I also know that the monitors seem to approve of it, which is rather odd.
I shrug. Again, I don't know what's going on. Anyway, I don't see why I'd tell you anything if I don't know anything about you.
Why, I'm just a simple pet. I don't know anything that's going on.
His tone of voice tells me that he's mocking me. I raise an eyebrow, but don't say anything. Alex sighs.
The simplest way I can explain it is that I'm trying to maintain peace in the Galaxius as a whole. That mainly involves watching the motives of the wolves.
Why is that?
Because they can be dangerous.
Okay. Are none of the other siblings dangerous?
Marco, Adastra is the only civilization in the galaxy to wage war on another sibling in over 10 millennia, and they were the perpetrators in the previous war as well. Not only that, but they waged war on an almost parent-level civilization. They're suicidal, and I can't imagine why the Chemians want an alliance with them.
I think.
That's a good point. I was kind of thinking about that earlier with Neferu asking, like, speaking about wanting an alliance, and I was trying to think to myself, like, what does Adastra really have? Because to me it seems like they're kind of like a defeated, shriveled, like, backwards civilization that doesn't seem like, it seems like it's got more problems than it's worth, you know? Like I guess the whole Roman thing, I really, I think it's all kind of going downhill for them.
It might just be their approach, like the equality and whatnot. Like if they're
you mean the Chemians approach, like just to
have like it might be
friends.
it might be this element of like, and I say this not knowing, like we're not going. I don't think we get this answer.
Oh yeah, no, it's not really.
We don't meet Chemians in this game, but like the wolves are seen as being barbaric for not upraising their children correctly.
Mm-hmm.
And if the Chemians are approaching what they see as like parent status, then they might even see the wolves as like abandoned children. They
definitely could and be taking pity on us, but the way that like Neferu's going about it as it being a necessary thing, and as opposed to just like a generous, nice gesture. Yeah, I think it's more so. I think what Alex is saying like makes a lot of sense, because basically if you have this one civilization that's like a fucking loose cannon, you might want to be friends. It's like oh, you might want to be friends with the school shooter. You know what I mean? if they're gonna be if they're gonna be causing a bunch of issues and be troublesome and be not bound by like logic in their decisions on whether or not to wage war, they're probably people you want to be cool with.
Yeah. I think
Or maybe they can convince them to
there's
go to
an
war
ambiguity.
over things.
I think there's an ambiguity from government to government and so on about what they think the parents mean and what their goal is and whether or not they should do that, etc., and like what they represent. And so I kind of get the feeling that the Chemians might believe in the parents' plan and want to see it through, and that involves the wolves because clearly the parents chose the wolves and had plans for them. And so they see this like floundering, failing thing, and they see it maybe as something that they needed to fix.
But I feel like if that was the case, I almost like the way that Nick Neferu is going about it in terms of like kind of sneaking around and like, I don't know. I feel like just approaching it like, hey, let's just be friends in any other scenario, it would just come off as like a nice gesture, and I feel like it would work. I think Neferu is acting like it's really necessary because he's going through all this trouble to get it, as opposed to just like a very open, like peaceful, like gesture between two civilizations, which I think you could do at any time. Not necessarily.
But then there's the question with Neferu of whether or not that is representative of how the Chemians feel about the alliance versus how much he needs this to work because of how fucked his trajectory through life is.
Yeah,
like he needs this success for himself potentially. That might be what informs his behavior. There's a lot of confusing ambiguity from the fact that you meet just Neferu.
Yeah,
and so every single character in this entire game is an unreliable source of information
because there's only one.
So whenever they're the only member of their entire race, you're like, okay, well I'm not sure what I do know about this entire group of people.
You basically have to generalize an entire race based on one token individial from each group.
Like Alex does
really
not
fair.
give us a good impression of the cats at this point.
I like that,
and he's the only cat. So what do you do with that?
Yeah, he comes off as conniving for sure.
Yeah.
But I like that they built their technology in the tree. Like that's cool.
Oh yeah, they have like nature technology.
I like it.
Which suddenly you're looking at his decorative earpiece and you're thinking of a different kind of earpiece.
Yeah. Well, but the grapes are really tasty though, so
yeah.
I was say, like, at least those parts have to be real.
Yeah. But they mix them together in some way. It makes you wonder what he might be hiding there.
Yeah, honestly, that could have been like a kind of a hint at his position that he has what looks like it very much looks like an earpiece for communicating this whole time. Like it's almost like a weird little subtle.
No, I love that every new piece of information you get in this game makes you reconsider like 3 other things. now we're like looking at his character design, which I'll be honest, I thought of just now. I didn't even think about that till just this moment where I'm like, oh fuck, he has an earpiece, and they mix technology with plants. I'm like, hang on a minute.
You bounce ideas.
Like I've beaten this game before, and I'm just now thinking about the fact that he looks like he's wearing an earpiece, and he could be communicating with people, especially since Neferu suspects that he has a second spy working with him in the city, and so like that earpiece might be sending and receiving information.
Very, very true. Very possible.
And that's ambiguous, and it's like that's all over the place. It's hard to say.
I love his
because he does talk via the tree, so maybe that really is just decorative. But
I just think it's like a weird.
It adds to his spy look now.
It has a spy look to it.
Yeah.
I'm just obsessed with his collar. I know it's like the least comfortable thing ever, but I love it, and I wish I could wear it.
It looks like a problem.
I have wondered this whole time if it is his choice or if it is like Cassius's choice. And initially it came off like it was Cassius's choice because Cassius came off like he was a dick to him, like he seemed like a bad pet owner.
Yeah. But now those two might actually really just be tender with each other.
And that might be some little kink thing he's got. You know what I mean?
Or it's just a cat thing.
I mean, there's no cat collars that look like that.
Yeah, I don't know.
I didn't know if that was like a reference to his culture specifically, a weird thing that him and Cassius do, like it's just it shows his interest, or maybe it could even be a thing to show to show that you are what's the word I'm looking for, like you are weak and underneath somebody else.
Yeah.
Like you are the you're submissive. It's like a submissive thing. It comes off as like, oh, I'm trustworthy. Look how submissive I am.
I think about the characters' designs and how they might reflect their behavior and so on, like Amicus's dumb "I'm a cool guy" pants, and like Cassius's massive overcompensating shoulder thing.
Which only has one shoulder.
It like massively increases the size of his silhouette because he's so small. Mm-hmm. And then you have Neferu is just running around and just like
fucking
just a wrap. All he has is a wrap. That's it.
He's very confident.
And he's got like a giant golden badge on his dick, basically.
Yeah.
Like that's his decoration. And then Alexios has this like really complex and tangled and restrictive costume. And it's got like a really specific look to it that feels like it informs elements of his character. Mm-hmm. And it's like overly ornamental. He looks like he's in bondage. But it also looks like physically uncomfortable. And yeah, he looks restricted in like several ways. There's a lot going on with these character designs. And yeah, he has the spy earpiece. It's a lot to think about. It's like I spent a long time just discussing like Louis' appearance and how his character design informs everything about his story in Beastars. Like the fact that he's small and slender, but he specifically bucks heads with other males. And it fits the fact that he's like a deer with antlers, and that's like what those are for. Like his personality is reflected in his design and so on. When you look back and see the previous versions of these characters, and there's always like multiple iterations as people develop these designs for these kinds of games, it usually isn't just like cosmetic of like, oh, I like him better like this. It's usually like you're designing their appearance around their personality in some way, and it informs that. And that's always interesting. Do you not want the alliance to happen? This seems to go against what Alex would want. I thought he wanted Amicus to take the throne.
I want the Galaxias to remain safe. Is the alliance something you want to happen?
I frown, wondering why he's asking me. I mean, to me it seems like it would create peace, so yeah. Alex's eyes narrow, like he figured something out. What? Do you want the wolves to stay isolated?
I just want order. The wolves have none of that.
The silence stretches between us.
I suppose you're still not going to tell me anything about yourself, then.
I didn't say I would, and there really isn't much to tell.
How about this? How did you secure Chemian citizenship? That's not something that's that's just given out to children who are presumed to belong to wolves.
The question takes me by surprise, though this whole Chemian thing does seem to be what's bothering him most, especially after his greeting.
Just be like, Amicus fucked Neferu.
I think, but the truth doesn't seem harmful here. Honestly, it was just to protect me from Cassius. He doesn't really like me, if you haven't noticed. The expression on Alex's face tells me that he definitely doesn't believe me.
Cassius wouldn't harm you unless you did something that deserved it.
He said he wanted to execute me because I backtalked him and Amicus slapped his nose. Alex's ears flatten.
Cassius says things. He's very passionate.
That's one way to put it. I shift on my feet, starting to get tired of this conversation. Listen, I have nothing against you, Alex. I'm just trying to get through this as much as you are.
Neferu gave you citizenship, right?
Yeah.
And you're working with him to make the alliance a reality, correct?
That stops me. What? No, I'm focused on Amicus right now. Alex glares.
Which is still part of the alliance.
I guess so, but honestly, that's not really my top priority right now.
It is part of your top priority.
I'm getting frustrated, and I start to sidle off toward the palace. Yeah, we established that. Listen, I'm gonna lay down, I'm tired. Alex goes on staring and doesn't say anything. Again, I have nothing against you. I hope that we can just go back to normal in the future once this is all over, you know?
Indeed.
With that, Alex turns and walks away up the path, leaving me to stare after him.
He definitely is like a diplomat because he was very choosy about his words, and you can tell he's trying to catch you up in semantics.
Yeah. He has a plan. A plan that's a little hard to discern. Even discern because he is not giving it away. Despite acting like he's... Well, despite doing so much to act like he's the one that's giving us so much information, and why aren't we reciprocating? I decide to ask Neferu about what happened with Alex. I know they had some kind of relationship going on, but maybe he can enlighten me on the cat's motives.
I'm kind of sad because does Cassius know?
That Alex is up to shit.
Was fucking around with Neferu.
That he fucked Neferu, and that he's like specifically like acting against the wolves in general.
Well, I mean, that whole thing, I'm sure he does not know, because that's why he's so upset about us potentially telling him that part.
Yeah.
But the same, I just mean the fucking part, because from what I can tell, I don't think there was any, like in our situation, Amicus was there was a trade. I don't think there was anything Alex traded to Neferu for the fucking.
No.
I think it was just fun.
Do you think Alex cares about Cassius?
He does come off that way, because he gets all pissy when you talk shit about him.
Yeah. He's very passionate. He blushed and everything.
And you can tell, like, he gets... And, like, when he was pinned down, the part that made him upset was when you talked about telling Cassius.
Yeah.
And he, like... That was the part that made him angry. I think he does like Cassius.
What a pair of messy bitches.
Both
This
of
is
them?
an incredibly toxic relationship.
Oh, yeah, dude. I can't imagine, like...
There's so much fucked up shit happening on both sides.
I can't really imagine them actually functioning. Especially now that we know Alex's true personality. I mean, they'll both just be super evil together.
I guess they deserve each other. My mouth is already open as I'm walking into the bedroom when I'm hit with a blast of sound. Oh, it's the other perp comic. I love this one. Oh, this scene. This is a highlight.
Oh, he's so cute.
In front of me is Neferu with his back to me, though I can see that he's in his underwear. He's moving fluidly around, arms and paws waved around, and pausing at odd angles while his feet slide across the ground, gliding back and forth. At first I think he's doing some kind of exercise, then I can hear him singing over the music. It's wordless because it doesn't translate through the lingua, just a sort of howling sound, though very different from the wolves. It's very loud, and I wonder and it's a wonder I couldn't hear it in the hallway. It doesn't necessarily sound bad, but I can tell Neferu isn't putting much effort into making it sound nice. Still, I feel like I'm walking in on something private, so I consider backing out. Of course, that's when he spins around and immediately spots me standing there in front of the door, mouth still open. Quickly, I fix my face into a pleasant smile, trying to act casual so I don't embarrass him. Oh, hey Neferu, I pause as I see Neferu grinning back at me. I was just, you okay? I have to almost shout over the music. The Jackal's swaying back and forth a little bit, almost like he's still dancing.
Oh, Marco, what an incredibly pleasant and joyous surprise.
Thanks? The Jackal begins to dance again, facing me this time, though he doesn't sing, thankfully. Are you okay?
Better than I've ever been, my simian friend. What do you think of the music?
Neferu nods at the ceiling.
I really like it.
It's nice. Kinda loud.
I'm sorry. I need to hear the sounds from home every now and then. The wolves have no spice in their music.
The Jackal slides his paws sensually over his torso, smoothing the fur down to better accentuate his pecs and abs, his eyes glued to mine. I look around and note the 3 bottles of wine on the bedside table. Oh, you're drunk.
I'm drunk.
Neferu spins in a circle and actually loses his balance, something I've never seen him do. I've seen him buzzed before, but he's always managed to keep his composure. But now... How drunk?
Too drunk, but...
Neferu steadies himself against a pillar, leaning and rubbing his head against it.
At the same time, not drunk enough.
I quickly make sure the door is closed behind me before moving closer to the Jackal. Do you need help?
What?
I raise my voice above the music. Do you? Neferu waves up his paw at me.
Wait. Calm. Pause music. Pausing. Dancing Amongst the Dunes by Heket. I need another drink.
Neferu reaches out toward the table, even though it's a good 10 feet away, and I look over to see one of them is half full. There's a pause, then Neferu opens his eyes, frowning at me.
I said I need a drink, Marco.
And what do you think I'm gonna do about that?
You're a slave. You know what to do.
I stare. Excuse me?
You are a slave.
Neferu pokes a finger in my direction with every word.
Don't let the wolves tell you any different. As long as you are here, they are your master.
But you were treating me like a slave just now.
I was making...
Neferu pauses as he makes a strange swallowing, hiccuping sound.
I was making a point, clearly. Sorry, should I simplify my words for you?
The jackal goes on staring at the bottle, as if wondering if it's worth it to make the journey there. He turns back to me, as if just remembering that I'm here, though he seems to have trouble focusing his eyes.
Don't worry, Marco. I am just as much a slave as you are. You have the advantage of someday leaving, though.
I move closer, deciding to sit on my bed while Neferu goes on hugging the pillar, as if letting go will cause him to fall. That wouldn't be good considering the fountain is right there. You can't leave whenever you want? Neferu chuckles, then guffaws, another sound I've never heard from him.
You don't understand. I can leave, but I can't leave.
Yeah, I don't think I do understand. Suddenly, Neferu's ears flatten.
You really fucked this up for me. Do you understand that?
I blink. What?
You fucked my life.
This time Neferu uses his foot to point at me, or really just sort of kicking it in my direction. What the hell are you talking about?
If you hadn't come here, Kata would not have had the excuse to nullify Amicus's emperorship. I'd be halfway through negotiating an alliance by now.
Wait, this isn't my fault. I was brought here against my will, Neferu. Neferu makes another deep swallowing sound, then just belches loudly.
Yes, I'm sorry. I forget it's mostly that big idiot's fault.
I feel my temper snap and I stand up. Now is not the time I wanted to find out that my most important ally actually blames me and my boyfriend for the situation he's in. Hey, I know you're drunk, but I'm not going to listen to you say this shit. You can call me back when you've sobered up and stop feeling sorry about yourself. I start walking towards the door quickly, feeling a little sick at the whole situation. If Neferu really is turning on me, that means the only person I can trust here is in the dungeon. I really would be alone.
Wait.
His voice is so quiet that I'm almost not even sure I heard it. I paused, though, looking back over my shoulder. He's still leaned up against the pillar, his ears down, gazing at the ground. I'm about to ask him to repeat himself, but that's when he suddenly lets out a gasp and slides down the pillar to his knees. He crumples on the ground, paws covering his face as he trembles and starts to sob loudly.
I'm sorry. I don't know what I'm doing.
I stare, open-mouthed, watching the jackal cry for several seconds. Apparently too drunk means way too drunk. Still, this jackal clearly has a lot of problems that he doesn't tell anyone about. Actually, he doesn't really have anyone to tell them to on this alien moon. At least I have Amicus. So, after standing there in stunned silence for a moment, I walk over to Neferu. I stand awkwardly at his side for a moment, watching his broad, black-furred shoulders heave up and down before I kneel and rest a hand on his back. I see his ears perk up for a moment in reaction, but otherwise he doesn't say anything. I'm generally not the best at comforting someone, especially when they're crying, but I rub my hand in a circle through the fur. Hey, I get it. This whole thing's really frustrating, but we'll figure this out together. I give the jackal a few minutes to finally calm down, then I start to pull him up, pushing him in the direction of his bed. He doesn't resist, and stumbles up to it before falling face down onto the covers. He wipes his face with the pillow, and while he does that, I quickly grab the wine bottles, moving them to the floor so they're out of his reach. Finally, Neferu lets out a big, shuddery sigh.
Can you rub my back again? It feels good.
The jackal's voice is stuffy from his clogged nose. Sure. I kneel beside the bed before starting to rub Neferu's back again. He sighs, then turned away from me. I let the silence go on for a while, listening to the jackal's sniffing every couple of seconds before I finally speak. So, what happened?
I drank.
Yeah. Speaking of which, bring us a glass and a pitcher of water, please.
Yes, Marco.
And, take the wine bottles away, too.
Yes, Marco. No, my precious wolven wine.
Neferu says it in a mock sad voice, but combined with his already sad state, there's not much of a difference. Again, what happened?
I don't know. I suppose I realize how challenging this will all be. I can't say I trust the Wolven people to oust Cassius. They're rather accepting of corrupt officials.
I think, trying to approach this delicately. Is your family making you do this? Like they won't let you come back unless you cultivate the alliance.
My family doesn't even expect me to accomplish that, but that's why I must do it. If I don't, I might as well be banished.
It seems kind of unfair that they'd put this all on you.
After what I've put them through, it's only fair.
I wait for more of an explanation, but he doesn't go on. So is what Alex said on the island about you and your family true?
More or less.
Again, he doesn't seem interested in talking about it, so I just go on rubbing his back. Well, we're gonna get Amicus out of the dungeon and onto the throne. I know you don't believe that, and I know you don't believe that I've talked to the parents, but I really think I have, and they're on our side. Neferu chuckles. So, you'll get that alliance.
I hope so, my friend.
We sit in silence for a long while, and even I start to enjoy the hypnotic motion of rubbing Neferu's furry back in a large spiral motion. My mind wanders back to the cat. Speaking of Alex, I had a weird conversation with him today. I think he thinks we're like conspiring against him or something. Neferu grunts.
Stay away from that cat. He's nothing but trouble.
Well, he kept bringing up the alliance. He seemed to want to know my role in it. Neferu turns his face toward me, his eyes bloodshot, but the tears dried up at this point.
I assume it had something to do with not wanting the alliance to happen?
Yeah. Neferu takes a deep breath and presses his face into the pillow, letting out a long groan.
All I can say is I don't trust him.
Yeah, definitely not. I just don't really get what he's doing.
Neither do I, and that's why you should stay away from him.
Really? I thought you two, I don't know, talked and did stuff together.
Which didn't shed any light on his motives. Considering the way our relationship has changed, I doubt I'll get any more information from him.
Sure you can't just seduce him again? Neferu cracks a smile.
He's winking. Last time I tried that, he referred to me as a whore, which isn't exactly inaccurate.
just the confidence, like, yeah, I'll wear it.
Yeah.
Just like I'm not wearing clothes.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, or not wear it. Like.
The doors open and drones glide in, setting water down on the bedside table and fetching the bottles from behind the Jackal's bed. Neferu watches it go morosely. I clear my throat, trying to distract him from the departing alcohol. I get what you mean, though. It seems like he favors one side, then the other. I don't get it. Neferu waves his paw.
Best not to worry yourself with him and simply stay away. Amorphins are famous for their quirks and seemingly contradictive behavior.
Alright. I rub for a while longer, switching hands as my arm starts getting tired.
It is kind of like a real cat, though.
Just pet,
like for they're
switching
quirky,
sides.
They're quirky in their contradictory behavior because they behave in ways that doesn't seem to benefit them. Like, they don't make a lot of sense.
It's like, do you want to get pet or not? It's like you start, and then it's like, I'm cool with the petting until the part where I draw blood.
They're very strange.
Like, okay, cool, not game for this anymore. Don't really want this.
And then you stop, and then they come over and try to like get you to pet them
you
again.
You literally attacked me. I don't like this game. I'll just pet a dog. I'm starting to think that the Jackal has fallen asleep when he suddenly speaks again, jolting me out of my trance.
We will be revealing our hand to Cassius tomorrow. With any luck, Amicus will be freed by the end of the week.
Oh. I'm surprised, finding that hard to take in. I knew this would be coming, but not so soon. How are we going to do that?
Well, we have 3 pieces of information that can help us. The first is the footage from the 3rd trial. Hopefully that will be enough to convince Cassius to step down.
Neferu suddenly shifts and slowly sits up, groaning again before reaching for the pitcher and glass of water.
The second is the footage of Kato attacking me. I'd rather we not have to use that, but if Cassius isn't convinced by the first, then we may have to resort to it.
Neferu drinks deeply from his glass, and I watch him impatiently as he drains the entire thing. And the third? Neferu gasps and leans back, setting the glass down.
Remember your little theory about the previous Emperor's accident?
I nod. Alex said the investigation was botched. Neferu glances at me.
The fact that the cat tips you off is worrying, but it is very odd. The investigation wasn't botched, but rather called off by the acting Emperor.
Kato?
Indeed. The investigators were only able to get as far as discovering a possible malicious software installed on the ship's navigation system. Considering software has to be installed through a port, and that the ship is heavily protected whenever outside the palace, the installation likely would have had to have happened while inside the palace.
So Kato. Neferu chuckles.
More than likely, yes, but I don't understand why. Kato was good friends with the last Emperor, and as far as I can tell, he was supportive of his policies.
Well, how people act on the outside doesn't really seem to matter much around here.
Or anywhere. What convinced me of Kato's involvement, however, is the fact that every single investigator has gone missing since. Oh shit.
What?
Mm-hmm.
I start to feel that icy fear in my chest again. If it is Kato, then he really is ruthless. What I saw happen to that doctor, Felix, can only be a taste of what Kato's capable of.
Unfortunately, because there is no solid evidence linking Kato, I'm afraid it might not be very effective. It could be another last resort, though. Anyway, would you like to go with Virginia to try to convince him with this information?
Really? You've been trying to get me to stay out of the way for the past week.
To keep you safe, but I've noticed that Cassius may have taken a liking to you as of late. You know him to some degree and could use that knowledge to better convince him.
Well, I wouldn't say he likes me, but yeah, I can try.
And as I said, Virginia will be there to help as well.
I assume you're not going. Neferu smirks.
I am the last person he'd want to see while discussing the possible end of his rule. Besides, I know I'm not going to be feeling my best tomorrow. I think I'll stay in bed for once.
Drink more water. Neferu sighs, just sort of looking at the pitcher. I roll my eyes, reaching out to pour him another glass.
Oh, how kind of you.
I'm a slave, right? Neferu winces as he takes the glass from me.
No, you're a Chemian, and I think we'll be very proud to have you.
With that, he once again downs the entire thing. Oh, you beautiful train wreck.
Oh.
Just a human car crash.
He's a sad boy.
Oh, what a mess. Well, look forward to next time, where we're apparently going to confront Cassius about ending his emperorship.
I wonder if that'll go well.
More high-pressure situations in a game where every plan works. Every time.
Hopefully he's just like, it's all stressful, please take it away from me. But I don't think that'll be the case.
He does not seem like he wants to be emperor anymore.
Well, now that he's there, he seems like he's kind of...
Yeah.
He's a sad boy about it.
There's a lot going on. Welp.
Well.
Remember when Amicus was in the story a lot?
Yeah, I'm sure you miss him.
Missing that. All right, see you guys next time.
Adios.